everyone. Amy Belzer-Tennant here, the Genealogy reporter, and today is Genealogy Tip Tuesday. We're talking about Negro registers. You may have heard about these before. Even for non-African American researchers, they can be very helpful in determining who were slave owners, whether or not the slave owners emancipated their enslaved persons, and possibly even records of descent. In the early 1800s, many of the states enacted laws that would force free Negroes and mulattoes to be registered or numbered with the county clerk's office. The register included various questions, and of course, because it was enacted by the states, each state was slightly different in what they would ask or require from the freed person. But generally speaking, a register of this kind would include the individual's name, an age, their color or color description, stature, height, weight, scars or marks that they might have had on their person, and sometimes even information about their extended family. Further, I think the neatest part about this register is it often includes whether or not the individual was born free or emancipated. And if they were emancipated, it will go on further to record who their last owner was, who emancipated them, and when that happened, by what circumstances it happened, and even the jurisdiction in which the emancipation occurred, which is really great because then you can go back to that locale and find the records dealing with that emancipation, which can be fantastic. It could be filled with lots of genealogical data that you might not find anywhere else. Now, it's important to understand that it was a criminal offense to not register with the county clerk. If a free Negro or mulatto moved into an area, they were required by law to register with the clerk. Even sometimes not just the county clerk, but the town clerk as well. So when you go to look for these records, not only will you find them on a county level, you may find them on a city level or town level, maybe even a township level in some of the other locations. So I've kind of told you where to look, but on the jurisdiction level, county, then you're going to want to look at the city level and possibly the township level. But also you can find information usually at the clerk's or recorder's office of your county. Obviously, many libraries will hold archival material as well as books written from the registers. You might find information also on ancestry.com, actual digitized records, but my favorite place to go to try to find these registers of free Negroes and mulattoes is familysearch.org. I love familysearch.org because obviously it's free and accessible from home, and that's pretty much the greatest part of it. So I wanted to show you what I found on Family Search. So first we're going to go to familysearch.org and we're going to make sure that we're signed in. As I always say, you got to sign in to get all your goodies. And let's click on search, and from the pull down options, choose catalog. Now, a lot of these registers for free Negroes and mulattoes are going to be in the unindexed type records. So to find those, we're going to need to use the catalog. All right, let's say we're interested in the United States, in Ohio, lots of great records in Ohio, and I'm going to look in Belmont County. Click search. For these types of records, you may find them listed here on the search results in a couple different places. The first place you would want to look is in court records. If you see anything that says Registry of Free Negroes or Mulattoes here, then you would want to click on that. If you don't, scroll down a little bit and choose Land and Property. Always check there. And then the last place we're going to look is under the heading of Minorities. And I see here we have a record of blacks and mulattoes, 1809 to 1854. Definitely want to take a look at that. Now here at the top, it gives me a brief synopsis that this came from the clerk's office in Belmont County. And if I scroll down, I have, here we go, a little camera. That is fantastic because the little camera means we have access to this digitized microfilm from home for free. Click the little camera. And what we're seeing here will be digitized microfilm. like we're at the old microfilm reader and just reeling it through, except we're at our computer, it's digitized, and we're just clicking a button. I found a record I'm going to show you. It was on image 11, so let me just put that in. Now you might notice, and this was a little unusual, that this record begins Virginia, Berkeley County. Well, it just so happens if you were to follow Belmont County, Ohio back in time, it was formed from Jefferson and Washington County. And Jefferson was formed from Washington County, and Washington County was unorganized. And so it just happens that these Berkeley County, Virginia records were eventually passed on to Belmont County. Why they're there exactly, I don't know. At this record here, you'll see it says Betty Jones, aged 25 years, was emancipated by Thomas Boydstone in the year 1785, as appears by the records of the court this day, registered in my office, agreeable to the declaration of an Act of Assembly entitled An Act for Regulating the Police of Towns in this Commonwealth and to restrain the practice of Negroes going at large, that the said Betty is a dark complexion, about 4 feet 10 or 11 inches high, and a very good complexion. And then it gives the date of the 18th day of September 1809. So that is pretty neat. They've said when she was emancipated and by whom she was emancipated and a little description of what she looked like. Let's go back. I'm just going to click the back button here a couple of times and go back to the catalog. And this time I'm going to search for records in St. Clair, Illinois. Let's take a look here. And in this case, I'm going to jump down through here to minorities, that subheading there, and choose Registry of Negroes and Mulattoes. And this tells me that it was the clerk of the county commissioner's court is where this information came from. And I can scroll down and choose the little camera there, meaning I do have access. And if you can see here, we begin with St. Clair Emancipation Records 1822 to 1832. There are actually numerous types of records found on this microfilm. There are marriage records, marriage bonds, and these emancipation and registration records. So I'm just going to pull up image 238 because I found something really neat. All right, and I'll just scroll in here and read just a bit about this. This was kind of neat that it had this additional information. Be it remembered that on this 10th day of April, 1847, before me, William McClintock, clerk of the county commissioner court within and for the said county of St. Clair and state of Illinois, personally appeared a dark mulatto man calling himself Wilson Ross, to have his name entered of record. Okay, and then it talks about the evidence. Know all men by these present that whereas on the 29th day of October 1841, I, Elizabeth Padfield, then living in St. Louis and now in Illinois town in the state of Illinois, purchased of Elbert J. Vaughn, a Negro man, then a slave, doing service to said Vaughn, and whereas at the purchase of said slave, it was my intention to liberate him as soon as he would compensate, let me pull it over here, by his labor and money for the amount I paid for him, to wit, the sum of $825. And whereas the said slave, whose name is Wilson Ross, commonly called Wilson, simply, has now fully compensated me for the purchase money, we hereby emancipate, liberate, and set free the said Wilson Ross in as full a manner as if he had been born free. And whereas in the course of time it may be necessary that he should be known by certain descriptions as well as by name, we annex the following description of him. And then they tell a little bit about Wilson Ross. They say that he's about 35 years of age, 5 feet 6 inches, dark mulatto. He has 3 types of marks. One of them is on his left leg, 2 scars from the bite of a dog. Another's a scar on his right wrist. It talks about he got that from a knife. Also another one immediately on the back of the thumb. And then it's signed this 9th day of April, 1847. And Abraham and Elizabeth have both left their mark on this document. Isn't this awesome to find these registers of free Negroes and mulattoes, especially if they were your family member, to have a description of them, to know a little bit about where they last were enslaved, by whom, why they were emancipated. In this case, Wilson Ross worked really hard and paid back $800 and some dollars, his worth, and was able to secure his freedom. He purchased his freedom. Isn't that amazing? Registers of free Negroes and mulattoes might be the record you're looking for this week. Take a look at familysearch.org and see what you can find. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We need you. Thanks for joining us here, and we'll see you again on Genealogy Tip Tuesday. Bye-bye.